Hello everyone! Today we have a review of a new product from the New Balance brand, or rather, it's a new, old model from New Balance. I think many of you know what I'm talking about. Here are the New Balance 1000s. These sneakers, I believe, will definitely find their significant place. Well, maybe not in the industry as a whole, but in the New Balance model range for sure. And there are two reasons for this. First, the silhouette itself is quite interesting and futuristic. It's unlike the 2002, 1906, 860, or any other silhouettes. It's like a breath of fresh air. And the second reason is the very active marketing from New Balance. Plus, there's a large color palette, although in fact, only 3 have been released so far. In collaboration with Joe Freshgoods, they also come in another color, and the default metallics. But already on GOAT, there are about 13 different variations of these sneakers. So in fact, only 3 have been released, but a dozen others have already been teased. And if we recall, for example, the release of the super popular New Balance 550 or, for instance, the current New Balance 1906, they all initially came out in collaboration. The 550s came out in collaboration with Aimé Leon Dore, and the 1906 came out in collaboration with Size. Never that. This somehow helps gather more attention around the sneakers compared to if they were released in the usual default style. As for the creation history of this model, it's worth mentioning the New Balance 990. The first 990s came out in 1982, and their advertisement was based on the claim almost perfect. So, logically, there should have been some perfect 1000 version. And in fact, these came out in 1999, but it's hard to say they were perfect. It was basic restrained sports footwear, geared towards runners, although I'm not sure anyone actually ran in them. But there was no hint of premium quality. If we're talking about 990s, 1000 and B, 1300, 1500, these are truly the premium segment from New Balance, with the best technologies, best materials, etc. And the 1000 series was only related by name, and they achieved no success at the time. But times change, and along comes Teddy Santis, now a legendary figure in New Balance, who will undoubtedly go down in history. He loves and knows how to take archival models and make them super popular. The brightest example is probably the New Balance 550, which I've already mentioned today, which were once at the peak of popularity, and although the hype has passed, the pair is still being released and sold. Now let's move directly to the review of the pair itself. As I said, this is an unusual pair. It's a collab with Joe Freshgoods. Who is Joe Freshgoods? In short, he's a creative American guy who has collaborations with many brands. For some reason, Ukrainian sayings come to mind, like jack of all trades, which fits him well. Indeed, speaking of his specific collaborations with New Balance, several pairs have accumulated over the years, and most of them are very popular and resell for much more than their initial price. In this collab, besides this color called Black Ice, there was also a pink variant called Pink Milk. I don't know if I have any hardcore sneakerheads watching, but these sneakers remind me a lot of the Skepta collab based on the Nike Air Max 97 model in terms of color and stripes. I really wanted those back then, but with my 72 kilograms, 97 Max was too firm for me, so I didn't buy them. In my opinion, they turned out really cool. Let's go through the details of the sneakers, but first, let's mention the price. In the States, a default pair costs $150. Of course, they sold out immediately, and on resale platforms, where you can buy resold shoes, these sneakers cost about $200, depending on the size. In terms of technology, it's all very simple. There's a rubber sole without any endurance marking, meaning it's regular rubber. In the middle, there's a stability web plate to prevent twisting. And around the perimeter, there's Absorb, a special foam from New Balance, a combination of regular EVA with rubber particles. It's the right mix of softness and firmness. If you measure it with a durometer, the average value would be 42 to 44. So, it's neither too soft nor too hard. And the upper part is a combination of various materials, shapes, and textures, making the sneakers visually unique. The mesh structure is interesting, not very present, just in the front and a bit on the sides. Nonetheless, it ventilates well, making these sneakers suitable for summer. Regarding other materials, there are synthetic overlays on the sides, something like leather in the front and on the tongue. At least, it looks like leather. And I really like the small, semi-transparent plastic and logo. The embroidered inscriptions at the back and on the left tongue, indicating it's a 1000 model, and the Joe Freshgoods inscription on the right tongue, also add a nice touch. Another important detail is the very rigid heel, which I can't press at all, like running or trail running shoes. And of course, the inner heel insert catches the eye, although I'm skeptical about its practicality. Adding a bit more foam to the heel would have sufficed, but we'll have to wear them to judge properly. I plan to wait for more pairs to be released, hoping for some color variations that might appeal to me more. The lacing system here is also interesting, consisting of loops, but if you look closely, there are eyelets too. So you can choose to lace through loops or traditional eyelets. The insole is basic, with no side support. Today's unboxing and first impressions, along with a bit of history, were meant to be interesting and useful. If so, please like, comment, and subscribe to the channel.